make it off the ice cold streets of the city. You better have a Christopher word game with it. You better have a dance game similar to...
All right, so it's the Lions Den podcast. We are hosting at Fox and Hounds in Ballantyne. The address is 15235 John J. Delaney in Charlotte. Come by and check us out. And listen, we want to, with that being said, my apologies to all of my listeners, to all the people waiting, been screaming at me, cussing me out, the whole 9 yards in reference to when is the podcast coming back. We are back. My apologies, man. You know, I had a lot going on. I know y'all can forgive me, so, you know. But anyway, listen, our condolences go out to the victims of the shootings both in Las Vegas and in Texas. Most recent is the Texas church shooting. Our condolences go out to them, man. So we, you know, our thoughts and prayers are with the families. But I really want to bring our co-host in here. His name is he has a bunch of names. We call him Rob. We call him Black Rob. We call him Black Card Rob. We call him Diddy Block. Listen, Big Rob is in the building with us, man.
Hello.
What's going on, y'all?
Not much, man. Maintaining.
All right, man. So listen, man. With all of this chaos going on, all of this buffoonery, man, all these people shooting, killing, stabbing, all of this, people are afraid, man. They don't know what to do. They saying, man, do I got to go to church with a bulletproof vest on? Do I need to be afraid? People are afraid, and they don't want to. Now, you know, it's you know, do I need to be afraid to go to church? Do people need to be afraid to go to church, man? What's your thoughts on that, man?
You don't have to be afraid to go to church. We stay in one of the safest, not only the safest countries, but the safest time periods in history.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing.
Wow, really?
Yes.
So what would be if somebody came and argued that, like, hey man, well, I don't know about that, bro. I feel threatened now, man. I don't think my grandfather felt threatened in 1933, man. Ain't nobody kick down his door and shoot up. So what you gonna say, man? Like
I can tell you, 1933, there were a couple of race riots in 1933, where literally your entire town got
burned down. Right.
As much trouble as we have now, there's really nothing that anybody really has to worry about, bad things happen. Horrible accident.
Freak accident.
Yeah. But most people, especially in the United States, don't have to worry about their entire branch of the family tree being wiped out.
Okay. So we don't got to worry about so what do you tell people that's scared now, man? Like the people, people that may have experienced the shooting in Texas but survived.
You can just try to get help. You can't. Everybody heals differently.
Right.
If you were there with somebody and you both lived, and this person's doing quote unquote better than you, everybody heals in their own way.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good.
You can't measure your road to recovery because that's a traumatic event.
Yeah.
There's no getting around that.
Yeah.
I was in Afghanistan, and I've never had anybody literally die in my arms or anything like that. So 2 years in Afghanistan, these people in one day had something that, and also in Afghanistan, I knew something like that could happen. You wake up every day knowing it.
Right. Right.
These guys went to church, just thought it was just a happy day at church with their friends, families, and loved ones.
And let me ask you something. Did anybody discover any evidence that there was a connection between the guy and the church?
Not that I know, but it's been too early.
It's too early to
we don't. Right. We're not going to know anything about this until a long time.
Right.
It takes a while and stuff.
I got you. Okay, cool. All right, so people don't need to be afraid to go to. So it's when you experience a trauma, I know I have. It sometimes man, to unpack a trauma, man, takes weeks.
Yeah.
You know, to even unpack it.
Longer than that.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah, exactly, man. And you're right, man. Sometimes professional help is needed, man. Like, you know, it just comes a time where you like, hey, listen, and I can't handle this on my own. I don't know what I'm doing. Yo, I need some help.
It's a shame that it's seen as taboo in certain circles to say that you need help with certain things.
Yeah.
That's a very sad thing. It should never be seen as a negative thing to say, hey, I can't handle this, but I want to make the approach to be able to handle this better.
So what you think? All right. So in light of that, let's just go ahead and ad-lib, man. What you think about the Tyrese video, man? Oh man, you laughing at this man? Come on, man.
See, here's the thing. Like,
I thought it was sad, but at this, nah. Go ahead, man.
I really want. Okay, I want to.
I thought it was sad, but see, we live in a day and an age, man, where it's okay. And please, with all due respect to Tyrese, shout out to Tyrese. My prayers is with you, bro. I know what it's like to go through. Not quite like that, but something as traumatic as where you feel vulnerable, you feel naked, you feel like nobody is for you, everybody is against you. But we live in an age and in a time where we live in a strong social age, man. So in this social age, it's okay for men, people co-signing for men to be like kind of like prima donna showcases on social media. Like, to me, that's like kind of feminine a little bit. Like, a man don't put his business out in public. I don't care if he's a celebrity or not, man.
With Tyrese, he
had
valid
thoughts on
feelings
that?
and an inappropriate response to those feelings. Like, there was nothing good that could have came from what
him divulging all of that.
It weakened his position. He's talking about court cases.
You said
and
weakened his position.
It really
did.
Powerful. Because
powerful,
think
bro.
about it. He's complaining about how in court nobody's listening to him, how he can't see his baby, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when his wife takes that video to court, this guy
man.
is unstable. Now, what's that going to do?
Woo! Yeah,
I don't know his relationship with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, but I'm pretty.
But they've been scuffling though, right? Like they've been back and forth, like a little bit of.
Like seems like.
Okay.
From what I follow like The Rock on social media. He seems like, or let me say this: the image he portrays is the most positive dude that there is.
Oh, indeed, bro. Indeed, it's hard to win a fight against The Rock, both physically and socially, bro.
He doesn't respond to
meaning social media, because he's a popular. Everybody likes The Rock. Right. He's a friendly. He's America's guy.
Yeah,
like that's
he's
what
literally talking about running for president.
Yeah, he'll win.
Yes, he will.
He'll win, bro. Yeah, he's a smart guy too, by the way. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. So, like, I just think that this social age, along with, man, no shade. Listen, I ain't got no shade against no gays, bisexual, transgender. Listen, do what you want to do. But I think we've accepted such a strong feminine, it's okay for dudes to be extra feminine. So it's like, we accept anything. Now, oh, dude got a dress on. Oh, it's okay. It's cool. Oh, dude saying this, it's okay. Oh man, he got on lipstick. Oh man, let him do it. So it's like, if he get on social media and act like a female, it's but it's like there's two sides to that coin, and it's like the one side is people gonna clown you. They don't care what you're going through. Man, your arm could fell off, man, in the dang old combat zone. Oh, what, man? Your arm fell off. Oh, man, come on, man up, whatever. I mean, you see how 50 responded to him.
Yeah.
No mercy. So it's like, and then the other side is like, you may get the response of like what you're looking for, but the percentage is probably very low. So it's like,
I guarantee you he's not getting the response of what he's looking for. He went into
He got a little bit of it because but interestingly, it was more, I was shocked. I thought it would have been more females that would have been sympathetic than men. But it was more men that was sympathetic from what I saw.
See, here's the thing. They understand
from the response.
I don't have any kids. I don't have like a baby's mom or anything like that. But we got to understand the
court
system is stacked up to to keep a father
Watch
away
yourself.
from his children.
Watch yourself.
Really, and that and that's one thing that breaks down racial lines and everything.
Yeah. Why do you think that is, man?
Because you got back in the day, if you got divorced from your wife,
do females rule the world?
No.
And listen. Let me talk about this. Anybody that's listening over live and listening on chiming in on this podcast, this is a controversial podcast. If you offended, turn it off. All right? I ain't trying to offend you, but that ain't my goal. But listen, I want you to listen. If you offended, man, this ain't for the faint of heart, all right? So, this the Lions Den podcast, man. But back to what you were saying.
Back to what I'm saying. Nothing against women. I'm not saying women don't have the faculties to be able to rule the world, but there's a certain
rule the
power
world
structure that's set up. If you look at the
if you look power structure,
it's set up.
Go ahead.
If you look at the person of the year, and you go back, there's going to be a lot more men than women. If you look at some of the most powerful people in the world, consistently most powerful people, you're going to see your presidents of the United States who've always been men. Right now you have Vladimir Putin.
But don't you think that that's something that's been the reason why you see in more positions men than women is because that's been systematically fought against? Don't you think that has a large part to play in women being in power versus men? Or no? I ain't trying to say how you to agree with that statement. I'm just saying do you think that or
I don't quite understand.
I think you mentioned systems in reference to I believe that in the systems there's a stigma of this regime that men control this. Men are predominantly. It's been that way. It's gonna always be that way. We wanted to. So it's do you think that the push of women coming into positions of authority, and rightfully so, do you think that with that push of women coming into their place of authority, of power, do you think that that's been fought against by the system in reference to power and control?
I don't really see too many who are making these. Angela Merkel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know much about German culture. I've never been to Germany, but she's a very powerful woman.
And affluent. Yeah.
Germany, I know their economy is pretty much the only thing holding the European Union together. They're literally financing Greece and Spain,
right,
and everywhere else, and they chose her to be the head of the country. But even her, Vladimir Putin, he found a way to play her. Angela Merkel, I don't know if people know this, she's deathly afraid of dogs. Literally deathly afraid of dogs. When Vladimir Putin went to go visit her, he brought his two biggest dogs with him.
Intimidation.
Yes, you can look at the YouTube video and just look at her face. It's
this guy right here, man.
But he just certain people, and I kind of know
someone. What a loser, man! I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he makes power moves, and I didn't really understand too much.
He's definitely a chess player.
Yeah, yes.
Definitely
I didn't know
too
much about him until I lived in Russia for about 2 years, and because I work for the Department of State. And that dude, has a very interesting history. But back to what you were saying before about women in power, it's not in divorce and things like that is one of the few realms that society will let a woman win and just shut up about it. And you can't really.
Why do you think that is, though? Do you think it's because that's their realm of power?
No, because it was the past. Here's the thing: if you married a woman back in the 50s and you cheated on her and left her, there weren't really that many if she was 45 years old when you left her, and she was a housewife, and you left her, and you had started a new family, you still have your job, you're supporting yourself. There weren't that many women in the workplace, so pretty much you would have to fork over that dough and take care of those kids. But now you have women in the workplace. Don't get me wrong, there's pay discrepancies, which most of it, if not all of it, has to do with maternity leave. And I don't really mean to offend anybody, open up a can of worms. Like, that's pretty much all it is. But if we value being a country that has a generation to replace us, like the baby boomers are like a very large segment of society.
Very much so. Right.
And with the way we have our system set up to take care of them, Social Security takes care of them. So we need a younger generation to work to support the older ones. So if we value people procreating to take care of the older people, we need to value the women who are having these children to join the workforce and be able to take care of it. But right now, we're not doing that.
So you think that the traditional systems of the way that the structure was is not like that, following that order or that style? You think that that's hindering the overall flow of where we need to go as a society or as a world?
There's certain things we need to fix. Certain things. If there's a problem, we need to fix it. Like, yes, like I said, these courts, child support, alimony, those need to be fixed. But at the same time, you can't expect women to just like literally give up their power in that.
Right.
When they're not being accounted for in so many other ways.
Yeah.
When you're used to losing, you're going to take the win any way you can.
Right.
So.
Yeah, because I think that the when we talk about injustice, there's a gross injustice with the way that corporate America, society overall, and the way that we intrinsically, even in thought, handle women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I think that that's a battle that should be fought on both sides. Like you hear, I don't want to get into the race card, but you hear the argument or the debate of, man, if we had Caucasians fighting for the cause of racial injustice, we would get some progress done. Well, if we had men fighting for the cause of gender class, we would get some stuff done. Like it's kind of like the same thing. And I'm not equating or berating anyone.
Right.
I'm just saying that I think that that's as equally as important. Like it takes a collective effort of coming together, you know, camaraderie, understanding both spectrums, and trying to push for equality, man. You know, like we said. But I think that's a good thing. But let's move on, man. So let me ask you this: how do you think? And you can take this any way that you want to, any direction you want to take it. Where we are as a society, you said that this is the most advanced that we've ever been. That this is the safest era that we've ever lived in, right? So let me ask you this: how have we as a society gotten where we are? And do you think where we are is good or bad?
It's progress. Like, this is the safest we've ever been. If we go back 100 years ago, that was the safest it's ever been. But there were very bad problems 100 years ago. So as society just tends to get better, as like technology just tends to make things better. Sometimes it kind of pushes it back for the worse, but overall technology makes things better for everybody.
Yeah.
And you're gonna always have like side effects of that, like exploitation. Like
right.
And
that's so true.
The cotton gin. Technology that made it easier to refine cotton, because you could actually refine so much cotton. Chattel slavery became a bigger thing. We have precious metals now that we know how to work with.
Right.
But now precious metals and minerals, we have warlords controlling like certain parts of like Africa and the Middle East to like manipulate those things. But at the same time, let's talk about Nigeria, where like a ton of these precious metals come from.
Right.
These people are enjoying a quality of life, which granted isn't the same quality that we have in the United States, but they're getting infrastructure like literally built for them to transport those resources out.
Now they have aspects of in Nigeria, man, that's phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah. So
Only they're not. There's a lot of billionaires in Nigeria, and there is an issue with that money not being distributed in the same way as it would be in the U.S. Like, if you have a community and then there's...
Well, that's due to commodity, though.
No, it's just certain people...
I mean, the commodities of minerals, natural resources in Nigeria, and the people that are over them control and manipulate the systems that overall oversee what's going on and how they distribute those minerals.
The people in power, they decided once China signs over that $5 billion check for, and I'm just pulling that number out of anywhere, I'm not really sure what it is.
Right.
But once they send over that $5 billion check for access rights, China doesn't care if the person they hand that check to keeps the whole check. If they give it down to the people who are mining it, they don't care. They just want that, and you can't really fault them on that because that's just the way capitalism works.
Right.
I think Margaret Thatcher said that, like,
Margaret Thatcher, that's my girl.
It was either her. I hate to misquote her or attribute this quote to her when it was somebody else. But capitalism is the worst form of government, but it's just better than everything else we have. Like, you can't.
Wow.
You have to respect it. Like,
that's a thought for debate, right?
Yeah, because if you look at some of these other countries that had like communist like ideas and like the food shortages and every other bad thing they had, like millions of people died like in China trying to like promote communism. Yeah, it's not. Everybody wants to kind of like shit on what they have and what they're familiar with, but sometimes. Why
do you think that is? Is that familiar? Is that? I mean, what is that?
Because it's nothing's perfect.
My question is what attributes to a mindset like that? Like,
because none of these things are perfect. This is like you're dealing with like different personalities. So none of these institutions are going to be perfect. So if you're in the United States,
take questions from the crowd.
Yes. If you're in the United States and you're predominantly Christian around here, so if you had an issue with religion, it's more than likely that Christianity is going to be the religion that you had an issue with. There's nobody if somebody in Kansas isn't complaining about Hinduism because it's not something that you're acquainted with. So that's why you complain about what you're familiar with because it's what you deal with in your everyday life.
Got you. Okay, we have a question from a guest. State your name, man.
Yeah, without a doubt. My name is Devin Greeno, and I appreciate you guys giving me some microphone time.
Absolutely, brother.
And it's fun, man. It's fun listening to you guys talk about all this stuff. And I want to, keep consistent with the theme that we touch on things that are not fun to talk about, right? Maybe there's uncomfortable conversations, and that's cool, right? It's time to have these conversations. What do you guys think about the Black Lives Matter movement and when white people? Hey, listen, when white people say Black Lives Matter, certainly, but like that whole movement's horseshit because you guys don't even care about your own race. You kill each other. So how the fuck am I supposed to, respect the Black Lives Matter movement?
Well,
okay.
You want to answer that?
Most people really don't care about anything that's not in front of them. Like, there's a major methamphetamine epidemic, like, ripping through this country, but nobody really gives a shit if it doesn't affect them.
Right.
So Yeah, in Chicago.
If it don't affect me, I ain't concerned.
Chicago, there's gang warfare that's like out of control. But just like somebody in a white guy in New York City isn't that affected by the meth addiction in Middle America, I stay in Charlotte. My heart goes out to those people, and like anybody who's suffering, my heart goes out to that.
Right.
But it's pretty much the same. If you're not actually in those situations, and like I have to like salute so many people like Common, Kanye West, people actually from Chicago, that it touches them a little bit more. So they do so much for those communities. Mm-hmm. So, but I feel
what role do you think that the media plays, man? Like, listen.
Huge.
So, no, I'll tell you this, man. So, we live here in Charlotte. I'm from New York, and I have the ability, because of social media and all this, to like look at local stations in Charlotte, or in Chicago. Okay, and I can find these stations that are just posting stuff that are strictly bad news. It's only bad news, man. We're talking murders happen every night. We're talking about armed robbery happens every night. Mm-hmm. It is a common theme. Right. At what point do you say, hey, listen, media, maybe talk about something nice for once in your fucking life?
Well, that's interesting, man, that you talked about, that you brought that up, because we actually talked about that. We had a discussion last night about that. But let me go back to your point. You mentioned Black Lives Matter. And I'm going to lose a lot of my black friends on this. The Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Lives Matter, and this is where education is so key. The Black Lives Matter movement, I challenge anybody to go to the Black Lives Matter website and go and read and research and look and see what they represent. Black Lives Matter is a statement that they took to promote a propaganda agenda that has nothing to do with promoting the black agenda. It has everything to do with promoting gay rights and the dominating woman lesbian society. That's what it's about. It has nothing. As a matter of fact, I'll go even further. Yeah, it's layers to it. As a matter of fact, it states in there that the man necessarily or not necessarily should not be considered the head of the home and the provider of the home, which is totally against the traditionalisms of everything that we know about family. So it complete. And I understand. Let me say this with our gay community and our gay friends. Listen, you do what you want to do. You believe what you want to believe. You live how you want to live. I feel like it is nobody's business but your own to live the way that you want to live. And I know that a lot of my traditional Christian friends got a problem with that, but that's the way that it should be. We shouldn't force our beliefs or our systems, just like nobody else should force their beliefs or their systems on anybody else. With that being said, there's a reason why that the Black Lives Matter movement primary funding is funded by a British libertarian. Right. There's a reason why. Because they are promoting and pushing an agenda that is outside. The name carries, but it's an agenda outside of that.
Well, here's the thing, too. Like, people don't realize when people say Black Lives Matter is like one movement. This thing, it's not everybody against police reform or police brutality. Some kind of way, like, we let like certain segments of like conservatism say that everybody's Black Lives Matter. Like, it's not the case. Mm-hmm. But if we watch certain news stations, we're going to see
that's another right.
Says,
well, that was my question, man.
Well,
like, so at what point do you kind of turn the table and say, hey, listen, Black Lives Matter has a thing going on, and there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Everyone's allowed to have a movement. Right. And especially if you have a gathering like that, maybe there's something there, right? Now, another thing is, at what point do you think the media is now being detrimental to what they're trying to accomplish? Because now only we will show, the violent Black Lives Matter folks, and the only things that we're going to show are things that are going to grab attention,
like
ratings.
But here's also
without a doubt, it's money controls everything, man. Like, without a doubt. So I don't even know. Again, as a white person, I have no clue, like, what you guys are actually trying to accomplish. When I say you guys, I mean Black Lives Matter.
Well,
I'm talking to the microphone, so I'm like, I don't even know what y'all are trying to accomplish.
Well, it's an agenda.
But before you make that point, remember when I said that the media, that certain medias that people watch shoehorn everything. You can literally become a member of Black Lives Matter. Like, so
by putting
who's to say?
What do you got to do? Like, that's the thing. Like, nobody knows what, like, anybody wants to do. No.
Yeah, you got to go to the website, man. Yeah, you got to go to the website, man.
Like, when you see people who are against, like, police brutality, when they start rioting, you can't really say that they're actually Black Lives. That's literally a group, like, if I like to go camping in the woods.
It's kind of like what you was talking about.
That doesn't make me a Boy Scout. I might just like to camp in the woods. Boy Scouts camp in the woods.
Well,
I'm not with them, but I can camp in the woods too.
I don't mean to cut you off, but it's similar to what you was talking about ISIS.
Yeah.
The conversation about ISIS. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
Like affiliation. So it's like if you outside rioting, you're a Caucasian man. If you outside rioting saying, "Yo, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter," they immediately are gonna put, "Oh, this guy with the Black Lives Matter movement." You may just be saying Black Lives Matter, but you ain't, like, you understand what I'm saying? And to answer your question about the media placates anything that promotes the narrative of high ratings. So they're gonna say anything controversial, anything black, and they're actually word points that they use to actually promote ratings, like Black Lives Matter, ISIS, like we was talking about yesterday.
Terrorism.
And see, if you go and you statistically study all of these buzzwords, I'm calling them buzzwords for a lack of terms. Not to get into it. Right. Keywords. Right. But if you go and look at, like, you say black on black crime, statistically, there's more white on white crime in America than there is black on black crime. But you would never know that because the media flips it on its axis, like to promote something that it's not. But ultimately, it's to promote ratings. That's all it is.
Love every single point that you made. And so now, again, keeping consistent with the thought that everything's safe here, right? We're allowed to talk about whatever we want.
Oh, yeah. But I do want to get back on the topic when we finish. So,
all right. So,
go ahead and ask you.
All right, kind of bar moment here. Like, when we talk about shit, that touches race, now we're full blown into politics and all this, right? Like, we're in, right? Like, it's too late. And no one wants to pick sides, but there's an argument that says that 15%, less than 15% of the entire United States, the demographics, right, are black.
Yeah.
And 50% of the murders come from black people, right? So we have an issue here. So is it a social issue? Is it a media issue that's kind of throwing gas on the fire, or are these stats wrong?
Well, here's the thing: when you look at those stats, it's not like to read them off like that assumes that there's a black investment banker who's gonna commit a murder because he's black and 50% of the murders are from black people, so it's his turn to commit murders. That's not how it works.
Right.
When somebody is arrested,
that's funny, actually.
It's really think about it like this, because most people, you'll be amazed by how many people I talk to never look at it from this perspective. When you have somebody in Chicago who shot up an entire picnic on a weekend. You think that was his first time killing somebody?
Right.
It's the same
I see your point.
People that are doing it, but instead of looking at it like, man, there's a gang problem, we need to get rid of these gangs, we look at it as, well, 13% of people are black and they commit 15% of the murders, so let's blame this entire 13 for these murders.
So the statistics are manipulated.
Right. That's like me saying that I don't know the
They're manipulated to fit a narrative. They're
I don't know the
yeah.
demographics of hate groups, but if there were more white hate groups than black hate groups, I can't blame all white people for hate
Right,
groups. If you're
right,
not
right,
in a hate
right,
group, you're not to blame.
Right.
Just like if you're black and you're not killing people,
right,
you're not responsible for Chicago.
Well, see, it's the feed. It's the feed on. See, the media banks on people that are the people. Thanks, man. The media banks on people being uneducated, totally uneducated, and willing to rely all of the information that they get off of the media. But let me stay to the narrative on this. This is kind of sort of on the topic. We already answered the last question. I was going to answer this about Puerto Rico, man. Puerto Rico concerns me. I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm not Spanish, but the state of Puerto Rico, the country, of Puerto Rico concerns me, man. Will Puerto Rico ever be back to normal, or will it emerge and become better?
It's going to be a long road. They don't have the same type of infrastructure and power grid that we have in.
So why? Let me ask you this, and I'm asking out of passion. Why don't we, as the United States, why haven't we stepped up and put all of our efforts behind advancing Puerto Rico? Why?
There's nothing to gain from it. From
Jesus.
I mean, that's literally what it is. Like people, they got mad at Trump for what he said about how you're kind of like messing up our budget. But I could be wrong. But as far as I know, I don't think Puerto Rico doesn't, like, they're a territory for the U.S., but they don't pay the same taxes as
That's true.
A state or a
Right.
commonwealth.
Right.
So it's
So they're gonna. So you think that will they ever bounce back?
eventually, yes.
How long will it take them?
That I'm not sure. But
So
it's going to be a long. It's definitely going to be years.
So our thoughts and prayers are with Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely, man. All right, cool. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about that, man. I feel bad. I have friends from Puerto Rico that are really struggling right now. They have family. Some have family that they haven't talked to. They've tried to reach out to. Their next step is to fly over to Puerto Rico.
Right.
So they're really struggling right now, man. And we just need to keep them in their thoughts and their prayer. It's sad that we, as the human race, have gotten so detached from being human that we don't even care if the next neighbor, if the next door neighbor lives or dies.
But are we more detached if 1,000 years ago, if another country went through something like this, did we give more now for Puerto Rico than, say, the Han Dynasty would have did for Korea 2,000 years ago?
I don't know. I mean, history tells us no.
So we're going in the right direction.
History.
Not as
but
fast
should we?
as some of us
Right.
want to be,
That's my point. Like, should we be more advanced as to where we are, like from where we are now? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's my point, man, and that's my premise in saying that. So, all right. So listen, let's wrap this up, man. It's getting the time is upon us. Let me move forward. Okay. So I want to talk about a little bit. There's a little tug of war going on in the House and in Congress with healthcare. And I want to ask a question. Are we more concerned about the price of healthcare? Well, are we more concerned about the price of healthcare and what can we do about it? But I'm attaching a question to that question. What's more important? The staggering going price of college or healthcare?
They're both important in their own ways. Is to compare the two.
But what's most, because those are the two. Those are one of the two of the many front runners in Congress right now. Like healthcare, and the reason why is because these bills being passed or not being passed to aid financially is going to either help or hinder generations far beyond us, man.
Well, to answer your question, here's the thing. If you have the best health care in the world, one day you're going to die. If you have the worst in the world, one day you're going to die too. So when you look at it like that, education is what's going to change things around. And like, it's sad, like, for so long people have been so like the bill of goods. Like,
yeah.
My father, he's 72 years old. And he used to always tell me, back when he was like growing up, all you needed was a strong back, and you could like support and take care of a family.
Right.
Now, you need some type of trade. And the problem is that people my generation, I don't know about the younger millennials now, but the thing is that like people were told that the way to be able to make sure you're like economically viable and marketable is to go to a 4-year university. Like, they kind of shat on like trade schools,
right,
and things like that. Where now it's looking like a trade school is really probably the way to go, for the
right?
Majority of individuals.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, there's been a kind of like a silent tug of war or a battle between trade schools, between trade schools and universities. Colleges and universities have tried to, if you will, sort of lobby or condescend trade schools. Trade schools don't have the funding to lobby like universities do. So as a result, the outcry of people being at trade schools for a trade, like you just stated, is not being heard as much. And I think that people are they're still being fed the narrative of, you know, go to college, you know, so you can get a job, which is completely backwards and asinine, man. I mean, that's not accurate information, man.
From what people tell me, college is a really good place to go to if you're not quite sure what you want to do. Me personally, when I left high school, I went to ECPI, a local trade school around here. I never, it really didn't do anything for me except give me like student loans. And the one good thing it did was it sent me to the military as an E3 instead of an E1.
Okay.
Which is basically nothing. So I pretty much had student loans for no reason at all.
Wow.
Like, from that time on, I never worked on what I went to the trade school for. So
I have a thought on the whole trade school, college. I think that it should be highly recommended, and it should be a part of the education curriculum in high school, that every high school person go to and sign up for and funded by the schools, by that state schools, you know, high school, that state, to go to a life coach and to a career coach.
But here's the thing, like,
to help them unpack what they really want to do and really want to be.
It's a good idea, but that costs money, and like people,
not as much money as going to a trade school or to a
not for that. I mean, to like have these career counselors give these children like the gateway to do that. And how much do we really care about it? Like, today was voting day. I went to go vote, and one of the things was for a school bond thing. I guarantee you, they haven't released the poll numbers yet. I guarantee you less than 10% of the registered voters voted.
Yes.
And if people really want to push like education in school,
maybe this is the time to do it.
If they didn't even agree with the school bond,
I agree.
Vote on it. But nobody showed up because it's not important to them.
I think that people have gotten discouraged by voting, and them feeling in a sense that things haven't changed.
Well, here's the thing, like, whether they changed or not, like, for your 4-year,
we should still exercise our power to vote.
Not even that. For your 4-year presidential elections, yeah, you can make the argument that whatever party gets in there is two sides of the same coin. But when it comes to your local, that's what really makes a difference. I was listening to a radio show, and the guy was talking about, like, this wealthy neighborhood that he opened a restaurant in.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he kind of like chopped it up with those people or something to him. And like those people could care less about who's president.
Right.
But when it comes to the school board,
that's huge.
That's what
huge,
they worry
man.
about. That's
Yeah.
what affluent people do, because
Right.
they know that's going to be the change in their community. And if they go to enough of these like little local elections, no matter what the person on top is doing, they have such of a infrastructure with like city council, governor, and mayor.
Right.
No matter what the top person does, they can block it all. Like look at Affordable Health Care Act. Obama passed it, but so many of these like red like counties, they just straight up defunded it to the point that some of these counties don't even have Obamacare. To be honest with you,
right,
they
that's
have
exactly
Obamacare
right.
Name, so you can affect yourself locally and actually make. There's nobody who can say that an election like today, these districts that were voted on, whatever you voted on today, you're gonna see the results. No, I don't feel like my vote means anything. No. If you feel like your vote doesn't mean anything for an election like this, you're not paying attention.
Right. Right. And that's an awesome pitch for voting, man. Thank you for that. Let's see. There's so much I want to touch on. I mean, we only got a few more minutes, man. Let's do some predictions. Let's switch gears, man. Who's going to the Super Bowl and why? I'm going to give you my pick.
All right.
LA Rams is going. That's the only team I've solidified that's going to the Super Bowl. Their defense is solid. Their running game is solid. Their passing game, their pass rush, their passing game is enough to get them through their conference. So they've shown me enough muscle to convince me that they're Super Bowl ready.
I feel like the Rams will lose to both, or they could lose to both, the Eagles and the Saints.
I think the Eagles will fold. I think the pressure in the playoffs will show that Wentz is quite not ready yet. He's great. He's a good quarterback. He's morphing into greatness.
Right.
He still has a lot to prove, but I think that the playoffs will shake him. I think the playoffs will shake him. They'll touch him in the playoffs. Like he's had one sack all season. They'll touch him. Yes, they'll touch him in the playoffs. They'll get to him in the playoffs.
That's interesting. We have to wait and see. But
so
for AFC, the AFC is looking kind of weak this year, but I gotta say, if I have to go with anybody, it's probably going to be the Steelers. They started off a little bit slow, but it looks like they really got it
Can
together.
Ben
we just
push
have to
through?
hope that, I think so.
So
yeah.
not my Patriots, man. Come on, man.
I don't know. Like, I always hate that bet against the Patriots. Literally, I lost money betting against the Patriots. But yeah, it just doesn't. They're not as strong as they were in the past years.
I agree. The defense is sloppy,
And they're having competition now in their own division. At first, they just got straight through.
Eagles are going to win, man.
Don't think so?
No, I don't. No.
You know, if you guys don't think that the Eagles are going to win, you're fucking lying. Now, listen, I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, big time Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
Kind of an asshole about it too. You know, I'm cocky. I love America's team and all that. You know, whatever.
How'd that work?
I get that vibe. I get that.
Cowboys
You know,
fan from New York. How did that work?
well, I grew up in a family where my parents were old school hippies. All they cared about was music. All right, think about Woodstock and all this. You know, that was their thing. They kind of gave birth to a kid that was a black sheep, meaning I was all about sports. That's all I cared about, right? Like, I went to college and played baseball and all this, right? So I really do care about sports a lot. I am no doubt one of these guys that does not have a biased opinion. I do have a team. I pull for my Cowboys and all this, but I have an open eye to everything, man. I think the Eagles are fucking nasty, man.
They're looking
They
like
are
world beaters.
so good this year. And I hate to say it, they're in my goddamn division, dude. You know what I mean? Like you know how much this hurts me to say this, but at the same time, that's the team. It's not Brady's league anymore, man. I guarantee you the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl, and I guarantee you it's going to be somebody from the NFC East. Cowboys look very, very good. Eagles,
What's going on with
Eagles look better.
The Ezekiel Elliott situation, though, like we still
Thursday, man. Thursday.
Actually, this is
No, they say it's still on.
Well, Thursday he has a
Thursday night, 7 p.m. is when that shit goes down. Now, listen, to me, this is probably one of the hotter topics that we could possibly talk about because it's not football, man. Like, this goes to the Supreme Court.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I was talking to my buddy about this today, and one of the things that we were talking about was why on earth is this a Supreme Court situation? We have, you know what the Supreme Court deals with? Money laundering, murder, rape, federal cases across borders and all this. You know what I mean? They are appointed by the president.
Right.
The woman that is doing the judging on Ezekiel Elliott's case is someone that was appointed by Obama.
Yeah.
Okay? Wonderful judge. Who knows? She's probably talented in her own eyes.
Right.
We're talking about football, man.
Well, look at
Are we talking about who can start next weekend and all that?
Well, look at the whole Roger Clemens thing in baseball.
My
Like,
only problem with it, and then I'll get off this, is like we have. So Zeke's case can go through the Supreme Court within weeks, right? Decisions made tomorrow. While we got some people that robbed a bank that are sitting in jail waiting 3 years to get that Supreme Court. So why on earth did this get moved in so quickly? And why is it so high velocity, man? You know what I mean? Like, we all bleed the same blood, right? There's a live person right now that's waiting for that court date that Zeke's taking right now.
Well, here's the thing. With the United States and the Constitution, we all are guaranteed the right to a speedy trial. Yeah, this person who, like, robbed something or murdered somebody, yeah, they might be waiting too, but they got their initial trial in a speedy fashion. This is something extra, and
why?
Because, like, even though, murder
he
is
runs
more
the ball
important,
for the Dallas Cowboys. Who gives a fuck?
Well,
man?
it's
international
football,
man. It's a game.
It's a international billion-dollar operation.
And fuck Goodell thinking that he can go above the law. Yo, there was zero case on Zeke Elliott. Zero case.
Yeah.
The cops threw it out.
I agree.
And now Goodell says you're suspended for 6 games.
Well, here's the thing.
And Zeke goes, why? I'm innocent.
Well, you remember,
they said I'm innocent.
"Quote unquote" Deflategate when they first tried to.
Yeah, now we're talking about like the
No.
Yo, listen.
I'm not going where you think I'm going with
this. Went to the
when they
Supreme
first
Court,
went
man.
there. They tried to say like he did something bad, so that's why we're doing it. So
you talking about Brady?
Yeah. So anyway, the NFL took it to court, and Brady took it to court, and they pretty much just laughed the whole thing out of there. So the NFL changed his tune. We're not saying whether now they're saying, or at the time they were saying, okay, well, we're going to stop saying whether he did it or not. What we're doing is saying that the NFL is a private company. Tom Brady is our employee. As a private company, do we have the authority to discipline our private employee in any way we seem fit? And that's what made it stick. If they had took the original horseshit, Tom Brady bad thing, they would have lost again. But they switched it up. The NFL wants to find some type of way to, like, they don't want their players bigger than the organization.
Oh, of course, right. Yeah. That's pretty much what it comes down to, man. You know, the NFL and the NBA, the contrast difference is night and day.
Yeah.
So, and we don't have time to get into that. Maybe another time, man. But if you could, let's see. If you could say, if you had 3 seconds to say 2 words to Donald Trump, what would it be?
Two words? There's not much you can say in 2 words.
Elevator pitch, go.
Let's see. 2 seconds to say 2 words. It would be the same thing I would say to anybody. Be better. Like, we can all be better than what we are. A lot of people...
That's good, man.
a lot of people like have this thing. You don't have to please everybody. In your heart of hearts, you know what better is.
You know you'll get fired, man, for saying that, right?
I've been fired before, and I'm pretty sure I'll be fired again.
What would you say to Trump?
I would. He took the words right out of my mouth.
Say
man.
something else, man.
I do better. I mean, it's going across. It's going into the theme that I was thinking of, and what I'm gonna close with. And these are my closing words, man. I just want to say this in closing. As a people, we always have a choice. Therefore, let us be better and do better, and this world will become better. This is the Lions Den Podcast. We will see you next time, baby. Holla at your boy.